You can't hold an alarm clock up to somebody and let it blare in their ear and scream, "Wake up, wake up, wake up," because
Hello, fairy finders and fairy seekers. Welcome to FaerieQuest and the weekly Ask the Fairies card reading. This reading is for the week of February 15th through the 21st of 2021. So let's shuffle up here and see what cards the fairies wish to share with us for this week. Alrighty. Alrighty, card number 1 is the Queen of Hearts, who in this deck is called Deja. Card number 2 is the 5 of Spades. Card number 3 is the Jack of Spades. In this deck, he's called Pampero. And the last card is the King of Hearts, called Good King Nehemiah in this deck. So it looks like this week we are dealing with hearts and spades only, which means we are lacking in clubs and diamonds. And we have 3 people cards. That will be significant, and they are all but one high energy cards. So let's take a deeper look at what the fairies have to share with us. Now I feel as though this is going to be a little different of a reading where it's been very global as to situations. I feel as though this is specifically for us as people in the situation that we are currently experiencing. So the first card we have here is Deja, and she is the Queen of Hearts. And as we know, hearts are very much emotion. That is what they are all about. And it isn't just a love emotion, it's also a hate emotion. It's everything that within us that says what is morally right, what is morally wrong, and what we are willing to set aside and what we are willing to actually fight for. We kind of choose our battles, so to speak. And in this case, we're seeing that Deja is very calm and collected. She is meditating, I guess you could say, or, allowing herself to just close her eyes, take a breath, and relax for a minute to clear her mind, to let herself feel her inner self, because somewhere along the way, that has been completely lost. And as we can see, she's in the position right now where a diamond would normally be, and the diamond is the light of us. And, things have been pretty dark up to this point. Things are not going quite as we hoped that they would, or as we perhaps expected, depending on our point of view. And I find it kind of apropos that her name is Deja, because that brings me back to deja vu, which this scenario that we are currently experiencing is not new. For many of us, if you are someone who believes in past lives, for many of us, this is a repeat of something we've lived through already. And we are very familiar with everything that is going on. The characters may have changed, but the situation itself remains the same. So part of us knowing this and having experienced the outcome in other lifetimes, that may be why Deja is able to relax as well. So that's kind of a guess until we, read further into the cards. And it doesn't mean it has to be an either or. For some of us, we just really do need to take that breath and, consider what's going on and realizing that currently we don't have a lot of control with that. So we just need to breathe and focus on ourselves for the time being, or to be allowed to think clearly so that we can act if necessary, because Diamonds is also an act card, which is missing here. And then we have the 5 of Spades. And as you can see, it shows crows. Looks like kind of one of those Halloween type trees that you might see in someone's yard just for the fun of it, with the skull on one of the branches, and crows who kind of depict a creepy Halloween vibe. Anyway, this 5 of Spades is kind of like the movie The Birds, Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. If you've ever seen that movie, you know that those birds, when they all were together and, just the anticipation of what they might do was pretty intimidating. And, as far as horror movies go, it's probably not at the top of the list current day. It's old, but for the time, it was pretty intense. And those birds watched every move the humans made, waiting for their moment. And in this case, this is Spades, which this feeling watched is all about our work lives and our physical health and material anything. It's, are we being watched through, our phones? Are we being watched through our television? Is somebody controlling whether we are going to be able to work or not? Is somebody going to control our health? And, we know that that is how things seem to be going at this time. And again, this card is at the perfect position for where the club is supposed to be. And as we know, clubs are about being independent and about breathing air, which still, they are doing their best to make sure that we are getting even less air with wanting us to wear 2 masks, 3 masks, 4 masks. Kind of ridiculous, actually, my opinion. Anyway, but, that club is not there yet. So those things have not been resolved as yet. And, it's up in the air as to, what our material lives are going to be like, what they are currently like. And, many of us may feel as though we are being watched. A 5 is a crossroads, makes an X. And in this particular case, it almost seems like there is no good choice, no good road. And so it's very frustrating and makes us feel trapped, makes us feel like victims. So even more importantly, to go inside of self. Breathe, regardless of what we're told not to do. Breathe and allow ourselves to get some perspective. This is also about making a choice. And, we've been so divided. And, the powers that be have wanted us to be divided. I do know that for myself, my lack of understanding is, for most of us, we have never met the so-called current administration individual, nor the past administration individual. Not in person. All we know is what we've been shared with from, the media. And, it's been determined that the media isn't being very factual, isn't being very truthful. So here we are as a people fighting something that we really don't understand. winds that are swirling around that we really, really, truly don't understand, but feel like we have to take a side. Which, I'm sorry, but for me, if I'm going to fight for something, I want that fight to be something I understand, something that I morally believe in, and not about two people, which is what it's been made a battle of. Or maybe I should say two parties. There aren't two parties. It's what we've been told is happening. There is a hidden factor here in everything. We have so much hidden going on in our physical world right now. That's what this card is sharing. Something missing. Something they want us to forget ever was. And I do believe that is the connectedness that we should be having. That is what keeps us all human and spiritual. They don't want us to do that anymore. This is what they would rather see. They would rather see us looking and feeling like absolute clowns, drinking, eating when they allow it, and not really having a sense of anything. Willing to accept anything we are told. Anything that we are told, despite whether or not we would normally think that to be morally okay. They say, drink the poison. And we say, okay, because we've been puppeteered. Now, if you look at her and him, you can take this two different ways. This is the king and the queen of hearts. King and the queen of emotion. In essence, he's supposed to be one of those kings that absolutely loves everyone, wants nothing but the best. She is the same way. They have turned this beautiful woman and this wonderful man into an emotional wrecking ball for the world. Made him, appear weak and like a joke, so to speak. Now, also, you can look at it from the standpoint of this is the current administration individual, and he is a clown, puppeteered by the elite people up at the top. He's the dancing puppet. Now, again, it's a path. It's a choice. Whether or not people wish to be in this serene place and to really think about what is going on, and instead of making absolute quick decisions with nothing to back those decisions, to be mean and cruel to each other, because that is what, perhaps the powers that be expect. It's what they want. They want us to fight with each other. But the hidden, forgotten thing is we're not supposed to be fighting with each other. We're supposed to be fighting with those who remove our freedoms. Our emotions dictate that, or should. Now, what we also have here are the two hearts at the top and the bottom, and the two spades in between. Spades and hearts are very compatible with each other, but they have a symbiotic type relationship in that earth holds water in a type of structure. So if we had earth in the shape of a heart, it could easily hold the heart water in that shape. But here we have the earth inside the water. What happens to that? If you put earth in water, it becomes mud. There's a lot of mud and no real structure for the emotion that is going on right now. So we just have to hang in there a little bit longer
The fairies are trying to share with us that things are changing. We just need to relax a little bit, go inside ourselves, and allow whatever messages we're meant to have from a spiritual standpoint. Know when to blurt out something that could be very hurtful to another person. Or just hold our tongue. Let each person experience their own awakening in their own time. You can't hold an alarm clock up to somebody and let it blare in their ear and scream, "Wake up, wake up, wake up," because that is a very unpleasant experience, and they will not look at it as a kindly thing to have done. So all they're going to do is tell you to go away, and they're going to go back to sleep. That's not what we want. We need to allow people to awaken in their own way, in their own time. And it might be just a kind, gentle seed that you plant in the earth, an emotional seed that you plant in the earth that they cannot ignore. And they'll go inside themselves, and when they come back out, they'll have made a choice to fight and gain back what has all been removed, taken away, to stand up for all of us. So that's it for the fairies for this week. I very much appreciate you being a part of this reading, and anything that doesn't resonate with you, just go ahead and let it go. And anything that does, meditate on it perhaps and see if it actually really does work for you, or you can weave a few things in and out of it. Nothing wrong with that. The fairies are very much open to your exploring the cards on your own. So until next week, take care, everybody.